Hi, kitty cats. It is Bob, and I am a cat. Meow. Okay, so, all right, ridiculousness. Um, Glasses from Shoppo, shirt with the cat ears, hoodie with the cat ears from Wish. Um, $6, I think, $6 or $8. At any rate, I had to get it right. So, um, how is everybody today? Good, I hope. Um, it is Wednesday, and it was a pretty ugly day here in the Northeast. It was really cold, and it snowed and rained and sleeted and rained and snowed and freezing rain. And it was really cold in my house. And I haven't really felt too good all day. And I'm having problems with this eye here today. I can't really see out of it. I've got lots of spider webby things. And so, I know what that's all about. But um, yeah, I've not had a really great day. Um, Tony's clinic was closed today because of the weather, so he was home all day. Um, and it was kind of nice to have him here um, during the day, because usually I'm all by myself except for the visiting nurses and such. Visiting nurses were all supposed to come in today, but of course they didn't because of the weather. So, at any rate, it is Wednesday, which means it is Storytime Wednesday. And I wasn't quite sure what story to tell today, um, but I think I'm going to actually tell the story of um, 2 years ago, 2016. Um, I was in the hospital with a foot ulcer, of course. Um, and I was scheduled for surgery that Friday, but earlier in the week, they decided to take me down for an unscheduled surgery to debride the wound. Um, and I didn't know until like really that morning that they were taking me down. So I called Tony to let him know that I was going in for surgery. He had to work that day, so I called him pretty early in the morning when I knew he was still home, and to tell him that I was going in for an unscheduled surgery. When I called him, he sounded strange on the phone, but he said, "Babe, I think I've had a stroke." And I'm thinking, a stroke? You are 36 years old. You did not have a stroke. Okay? Drama queen. Why? Why do you think you had a stroke? Well, the whole one side of my body is numb. Okay. Well, did you sleep on it wrong? Did you sleep weird last night and you get up and your arm is numb? It's happened to me a million times. No, I don't think so. Um, I feel weird and I keep falling. I've fallen about 5 times. Oh. Well, Tony's not a faller. Um, so I said to him, "Well, um, are you coming into the emergency room?" Yeah, I will probably stop at the emergency room on my way home from work. From work? If you had a stroke, you can't go to work? Well, I can't call off because I just started this job and I'm in my 90-day probationary period, so I can't call in sick. Well, no, but you can call in stroke. Hello? No, 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 I'm going to go to work. Well, you can't tell Tony anything. So, of course, he got in his car and he drove to work. And he went in and they took one look at him and they said, okay, you need to sit down and wait for the ambulance to get here. Um, so they did call the ambulance. He came into the hospital. Of course, there are three hospitals in Lancaster, but he came into General, which was the one I was in. And sure enough, he had had a stroke, um, and a pretty considerable one. I guess, you know, I mean, a stroke is a stroke, whether it's a mild stroke or a major stroke, or, I mean, a stroke is a stroke. Um, and so God bless my nurse on my floor, who was a friend of mine, and um, we had become friends when I had been in like a year before, or a year and a half, 2 years before, with the first amputation that I went through, and he really talked to me down off the ledge a couple times um, during that visit. So we stayed friends, and he went up at lunchtime. He took his lunch break and spent his lunch break going upstairs to check on Tony, to come back and report to me what was going on because I was in recovery. I hadn't seen him yet, so um, he came back and he reported, how he was, and he actually made arrangements for me to go up and see him later in the day, and said, don't be shocked when you see him because, I mean, he's had a stroke, um, and his mouth was drooping and his eye was drooping, and he was slurring his words. So it was it was unsettling. Um, and I thought to myself, oh my God, I've just had surgery. Um, if he's going to need care, how am I ever going to care for him at home? So, that was definitely a concern for his well-being as well as mine. Um, but he then that was Monday, and by Wednesday he went to rehab. Um, Now, inpatient Lancaster rehab did not agree with Tony. Did not agree with him at all. Um, and he threatened to sign himself out every day, go ADA and sign himself out. Um, but he ended up staying. He finally did sign himself out, like the night before he was getting released, the next morning. Um, and so I went out by Uber, and he was pretty much packed and ready to go. So he did. We called Uber back and got another ride. Um, he was so sick of hospital food that um, we stopped at. I guess it wasn't Outback. It was the other steak place. I can't remember what was out there, but um, we stopped and we had dinner. We called another Uber to take us home. Um, and he was so happy to be home. So happy to be out of that place. Um, and now, having been through rehab myself, I can understand why. Um, so I guess it was about a week or so later that he got his doctor's okay to drive. Well, he was on his way to recovery, but I don't think he was quite there yet. Now, he had not gone back to work. He actually was let go from that job that he had just started. He had gone in, I think he worked one day, and they were just like, yeah, you know, you're not moving fast enough. You're not, as good as you were before the stroke. So guess what? We don't need you. And then, like I said, he got his primary doctor to um, give him the okay to drive. So I guess it was a couple days later. I had a doctor's appointment with wound care, and wound care was across on the other side of the city. Um, so he took me. He drove over, um, and the drive over was not so bad because it's pretty much a straight shot with one sort of off ramp that kind of you know bows around and goes up into the street that the clinic sits on. Um, so getting there was okay. I had my appointment, and we left the appointment and we were hungry, so we got went down straight. We didn't get on the highway. We went down straight to Wendy's, and we went in and we ate, and uh, it started pouring down rain while we were in Wendy's. We finish our food and we go to leave. It's still pouring down rain. And he decides that he's going to go the highway instead of going through town, which I said, okay, let's just go through the city. No, 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 I think I'll be better on the highway. Okay. Well, where you get onto the highway from that side, you get onto a little collector road that takes you maybe 3 blocks, and then there's the on ramp to the actual highway. But now, the on ramp to the highway, there's like 4 lanes that are all merging at the same time. Mind you, it's pouring down rain. We go up to get on the ramp, and well, we're on the ramp to get on the highway, and he starts to merge, and the stroke left him from actually being able to look to the left. So there's all these cars coming and merging into the lane, and he's merging out of the lane, and it's pouring down rain. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to see Jesus today. We are going to see Jesus. So I'm screaming, don't get on the highway, don't get on the highway, get off, get off, get off. And he's like, get on, get off, get on, get off, get off, get off, get off the highway. So he gets off on that off ramp. We get to the bottom of that hill. We stop at the stop sign, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, don't ever do that again. Scared the living crap out of me. Um, the thing was, though, that where we got off on that off ramp, if you went straight, was another on ramp. But at that point, that on ramp was past all of that merging traffic, trying to get, and everybody's trying to get over all the way over into the right hand lane because that off ramp then shoots off. So we get back on the highway. At that point, the rain had let up, and it was a straight shot to home. Um, so, after that harrowing experience, we actually both had kind of a chuckle over it. It was not at all funny when it was happening, but in hindsight, we chuckled over it. So now weeks go on, and he's still recovering. It takes a long time to recover. He recovered really pretty quickly, but there were things left over that were still not quite. And one of the things Tony does when he texts, he doesn't type or type, he swipes. Now, Tony swiping at best can misspell 2 or 3 words. Post stroke Tony, there were a lot of times he was taking me for a ride on the stroke bus. I would, the stroke bus would pull up, he'd be driving it, and I'd get right on with him. And so he would swipe to text, and you could barely make out what the texts were. I mean, they were gibberish, really gibberish, with a couple of Spanish words thrown in there too. So it was gibberish in Spanish. So I had gotten used to it, and a lot of times I would just text back, "What?" with question marks, and or I could decipher it. He texted our one friend, and she texted back to me. Tony texted me, and I didn't understand a single word of it. So, could you please tell Tony that I don't understand Spanish and I don't speak stroke? So I did. I related that message to Tony. Christy said she doesn't understand Spanish and she doesn't speak stroke. And so we had kind of a little chuckle over that too, that he thought was funny. Tony has a real good sense of humor most of the time. And so he did find that funny. And to this day, we kind of still chuckle over that. It still gives us a chuckle or two here and there. Another instance of me climbing onto the stroke bus with him was over a weekend. Now, he had gone back to work by this point. And over the weekend, he said to me, "Oh, I can't believe this weekend went so fast. I can't believe I have to go to work tomorrow." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, they really do go pretty fast, you know. And so he went to bed early, made sure the alarm was set. I usually got up with him um, to make sure he was up and out of the house, and you know he would bring me my coffee and whatnot from Wawa in the morning. And so we got up, and I remember going to Wawa with him that morning, um, and thinking to myself, geez, for a Monday, it is really slow at Wawa today. Like there's nobody at the pumps. There was hardly anybody in the parking lot, hardly anybody in the store. But we went in and we got our stuff, and he brought me home. And once I got in the house, I turned on the TV to watch the Today Show. So the local channel comes on that I watch the Today Show on, and it's cartoons. And I'm thinking, cartoons? Where the hell is the Today Show? And I'm flipping through different channels, and it's either cartoons or I stumbled upon a Good Morning America program. And so I left that on for a couple minutes, and then they're like, so welcome back to Good Morning America Weekend Edition. Weekend Edition? Oh crap. Is it Monday or is it Sunday? Was yesterday Saturday? So I look on my phone, and sure enough, it is Sunday. So I texted right away, and I'm like, babe, um, you were on the stroke bus and I climbed right on with you because I thought for sure today was Monday. And meanwhile, he had gotten to the parking lot of where he worked, and he was the only car there. And he's thinking, I'm the first one here. Where is everybody? Like, what? Guess what? It's Sunday. So, I mean, no harm, no foul. He, you know, came all the way home, and we had a good little chuckle over that too. Um, since then, he's made a full recovery. I'm really, actually, very surprised at how well he did and how quick he did it. Um, so every once in a while, there's still a few little things that may creep up. Um, but for the most part, he's completely recovered, and so thank God, um, thank God, because I really could have lost him that day, and um, when I think about how serious it was and how you don't mess with strokes. I mean, the quicker you can get medical attention, the better chance you have. And he really didn't get medical attention for like 2 hours or maybe a little bit more. And drove his car, up a really busy highway to go to work that day. Um, the thought of it, quite frankly, in hindsight, still scares the hell out of me. And I mean, there were numerous ways that I could have lost him that day. And I'm so grateful to God that God really kept his hand on Tony that day, and brought him home to me and granted him the recovery that he's had. So that's Wednesday story time. Um, so, guys, if you have any ideas of anything that you want me to talk about myself, um, in Wednesday story time, just leave it down in the comments. I'm happy to talk about absolutely anything. I'm very open with you guys on this channel, and in an effort for you to get to know me better. Um, Wednesday story time is open to anything you guys want to hear. So until then, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Keep those flea collars on tight. Don't get fleas. And I will see you on the flip side.